Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting date were posted online, published in the Hunterdon County Democrat and the Easton Express Times on July 2nd, 2020, posted on the door at Borough Hall. Action may now be taken. Please join me for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
United
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Here.
Barry.
Here.
Hughes.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Strange.
Here.
Zappa.
Here.
Lee.
Here. Did we get Barry or?
I don't see his number on the list. Maybe what I'll do is I'll remove him from here. Oh, no, it says he won't be able to rejoin. Oh, we'll just have to wait it out and see if he calls in and then I can add him.
Okay. Motion to dispense with the reading of the August 13th, 2020 regular minutes.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange. Yes. Zappa.
Yes.
Motion to approve the August 13th, 2020 regular minutes.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange. Yes. Zappa.
Yes.
All right. Barry just texted me back that he's trying to dial in. See anything or no?
I don't see anything on my side, Mayor.
Okay. All right. I don't have an announcement this evening, so let's just move forward with public comments. It is the policy of the Borough Council that all public comments on an issue shall be limited to 5 minutes per person, and no person may make more than one comment per subject. Comments may be made on any subject pertaining to borough issues. Comments pertaining to public hearings should be saved for that section of the agenda. No debating between residents. Comments should be addressed to mayor and council at the public microphone. Public comments.
Okay. Let's see here. Did he dial in? Nope, not yet. Okay, I'm actually going to start out with the phones this time. So I'm going to start unmuting phone callers. For anybody else on a device, you can tap on your name as you see it on the right-hand side, I believe it is, and you'll be able to raise your hand and we will acknowledge you in turn to start your 5 minutes. So this is last four digits 4809. Are you there?
Adam,
Yes.
it's me, Sally. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sally. Yes. Are you?
Hey.
Would you like to do
Yay.
your 5 minutes?
Well, I won't be 5 minutes for sure, but I just want to tell you my heart.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. First off, I wrote it out because I'm better at doing that. And I'm just going to say, hey, everyone, Sally Ward here in Solitude. And I've been thinking about you all a lot lately. And my interpretation of what you amazing folks do as town council, mayor, administrator, CFO, town clerk, and with advice from our awesome attorney, even though he's not here right yet. And, well, this is what came to me to describe you all. Many different kind minds put to one task of wise decision-making for the greater good of our precious Highbridge Borough. Add to that input you may receive from residents, including me, on a myriad of different topics. Your tasks feel to me quite daunting. But here you are, day after day, doing your best to selflessly serve our Highbridge community. That said, I do truly trust the collective decision-making that you're making for the greater good of us all. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
My
much.
pleasure. Was that Barry? Did I hear Barry?
No, I think we're still trying to get him.
I heard some guy. It sounded like Barry. That's all right. Well, anyway, from my heart, I said that and I mean all of it. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sally.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Sally.
It worked. Thank you.
Hey, all right, there he is.
Sorry about that. I have no idea what the problem was.
We all have been.
Yeah,
Any other public comments?
Okay, hold on one moment. Okay. Last four digits, 6564. Any public comments? I have asked to unmute.
No comments, thank you.
Okay. Okay, 8654, last four digits. Any 5-minute comments?
You just were on that number, Adam.
Oh, did it?
That was 6564, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I
It
did
is
the same
close.
thing. I did a double take.
8654, any 5-minute comments? Okay, I see. Okay, so we will start moving down. I have
Other hand.
Robert Poles.
Good evening, everybody. This is Robert Poles at Pleasant Road up in Sileswood Village. Just have a question regarding the Huskies field. And since the Huskies are practicing and everything, the parking lot alongside the field there is still shut down. Will that be opening soon with all the practices going on and the games that will be starting soon?
You know, we didn't talk about that area specifically, but that was closed in tangent with the Lake Solitude area to restrict the access to the trails back there.
Understood.
I mean, I don't know if we can discuss it now, if it makes sense to open that for the Huskies while they're there, but
can we just move the closure sign maybe back, till it gets to, more towards Shop E? Maybe
Well,
close the road there?
even just 50 yards back, it's still got the railing things, doesn't it, to stop people from, like, it kind of funnels. So it's just for parking. I mean, just,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Could we do that?
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I think we can.
Is there a way to also just dictate it for Husky practice or whatever ever? Or are we allowed to do
I don't
anything like
know.
that?
I mean,
But I mean, I from my perspective anyway, I don't know if I know Chief Bartman's on the call and Rick are on the call, but I don't really see the live action down in that area that we were seeing back in July. So personally, I don't think it would be.
Yeah, I would agree.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? 5 minutes a person.
I'd like to make an announcement, actually, Mayor, if I can. This may be a good time. Since there's no reports tonight, the DPW Director, Rick, asked me to just let everybody know that the schedule for brush pickup and leaf pickup is going to be coming out soon. But please don't start piling your leaves in the street quite yet until, because leaves are going to start falling, if a little bit here and there. And don't.
I think he was having that happen before.
It'd be nice if it would always freeze you in a better position.
Always have a smile on your face just in case.
I wish you could pass me a note, just kind of help out here.
Yeah.
Like standby headshots we should get done.
Yeah. This is.
Bonnie, when is the first day of brush pickup starting up again?
I don't know, you put me on the spot, I'm not sure.
Okay. So,
I know we're extending it, let's see.
There's Chris.
All right, I'm back. Did everybody hear my announcement or no?
we
Yes.
heard of it.
Oh,
But it's
okay,
important
so,
to repeat
yeah,
yourself.
we're gonna have the schedule for leaf pickup and brush pickup coming out soon. Please don't start piling your leaves and everything in the street just yet.
Especially causes a problem with drains when we have, a major downpour like we did last night.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, all that runs into the storm sewers. And Rick is trying to put together a schedule to get out and sweep the streets as well, which would interfere with that. So,
And we'll be sure to put the pickup schedule on the website as soon as it's available.
yeah, okay. Yeah, let's get that out and we can cross promote that all over the place. Okay. Any other public comments before we move on to public hearings?
Okay.
Good to go? Okay. On to public hearings. Ordinance 2020-042, amending ordinance 2014-19 to confirm properties not affected by vacation of portions of streets. Motion to open the public hearing.
Move.
second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
No, Steve.
You're on mute, Steve. You're on mute.
And Zappa.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to reduce clutter so people wouldn't freeze, but I'm sorry.
We are open.
So, Bonnie, I'll ask you for an update, but I think this is just that first section of people, and I think everything was somewhat cut and dry with the exception of the one individual, but even that has been resolved at this point, and we're going to move on to the next section.
Right. The property owner who had expressed some interest in being included in this group I spoke to, and we are addressing his issue in a separate ordinance with a separate group. So this ordinance extinguishes the vacation that was on previously for this particular group. And we don't have any other objections from any of these homeowners on that.
Great. Any comments from council or questions? Anyone from the public?
I'll start opening up the phones. We'll start with 6564. Any comments?
No comment, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll do 8654. Any comments from 8654? Okay. Sally Ward. Okay. And I don't see any more hands up, Mayor.
Okay. Motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 2020-042.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Zappa.
Zappa's muted.
Chris Zappa. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Motion to adopt ordinance 2020-042.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Okay. On to the discussion items. Sale of borough property. This sounds it's almost a little misleading. It's not like a 100 West Main Street or anything really exciting. There's a property on the end of Main Street. It's kind of falling down, 77 Main Street, right before the entrance to the Commons. And there is a strip of property that is actually borough property that the purchasers want to take over so they can allow for parking and a driveway and that sort of thing. So I don't think I'm telling anyone on council anything new, but just for the people tuning in, the question is, and they're interested in buying this or being granted an easement, which means they essentially rent the property from the borough. So the question is, what do we do? Sell it outright, deny it, lease it? How do we handle this? So I have my own thoughts, but I'll let council take it from here and you guys.
I think that we should offer it for sale, the piece of property. There was a last minute amendment to this ordinance, only to make it a little bit looser on the size of the piece of property that we're going to offer for sale. But in my opinion, it's a lot cleaner. It just becomes their property. The tax line moves, or the tax map gets updated, and it's over and done with. Easements have to stay on, keep recorded, and everybody has to keep track of them in perpetuity. Plus, it then adds a little bit more of a tax rateable to the borough. So.
Can you tell me where this exactly? I mean, I know where the house is. Is it between the house and
The entrance to the commons?
Yeah.
So what they'd like to do eventually is to have a business on Main Street that has a driveway that can come into their place of business, behind it, and then come back out again. And right now, the size of the lot with the property that's on it that they want to build and everything will not permit that.
is that going to go right up to our entrance then? I'm just thinking about the corner where now we have a sign that says Commons Park. Is it going to take that whole corner away from us, or do we still have a little strip of land there where the railroad tracks kind of go and the big rocks?
Yeah, there's still definitely land between the commons entrance and their property.
Okay.
At the end of it, there is a map of it, of what there was in the supporting documents, right?
Yes.
Kind of shows out what they wanted to do. What we're trying to say here tonight is that we are going to we're offering the property for them to buy. We're not putting it in, the size and everything still needs to be exactly nailed down and what we want to keep and so forth.
And it's
But
selling price.
And we have to get a assessment that the buyers would pay for as well, the assessment.
And they would still need their planning board approvals too.
Does that affect the crosswalk that's going to be put in place over there at all?
No, the crosswalk is actually on the other side of the entrance to the commons. It's going to be on the northmost side of the entrance.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see actually if you go there now, the streetscape is in progress. They put a tactile strip in the sidewalk, right where the beginning of the crosswalk is going to be.
Do we know what kind of business they're putting in?
I'm not, I've heard rumors, and that's all they are right now is rumors. So I wouldn't really want to comment on that.
Look, Lynn, looking at the map there, it looks as if their current property line is only about 5 feet from the building.
Right.
So I think it's mostly that flat spot.
That's what I thought, but it has all the
I always assumed that was part of their property. So I mean,
Yeah,
I think
me too.
They've been using it as an unofficial driveway. I think we all thought it was their property just because they've been using it. So it's kind of a dead zone, I think, at the end of the commons entrance. So if they're going to pick up maintenance and it provides for some parking there, and we can still keep the end where the parking in the commons begins, it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So.
yeah, no, it makes sense.
All right, so that's on the agenda tonight. I'm with Chris. I think that selling it to the people that are interested in buying it and developing it into something they can use makes it cleaner. We don't have to maintain it. We don't have to go back and forth with a value and maintenance, and so that would be my thought. All right. Any other thoughts? That was quick and easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 2020-043, amend code chapter 75. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Strange,
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
And Bonnie, just a quick refresher, because I need, the cheat sheet next to me. What's chapter 75 again? I'm sorry.
Chapter 75 has to do with the classification of police officers, training that's required, and qualifications.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
I was just going to say, just to quickly summarize, it creates a part-time position officer that we can hire when we need to fill in extra hours, and it also begins to create another position that would be an entry-level position, because we're trying to look ahead to when our long-term people that we've had so long eventually retire. So just looking ahead.
And there's going to be plenty of time for public comment at the next meeting. So ordinance 2020-043 shall be published in its entirety in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 24th, 2020. Ordinance 2020-044 refunding bond. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Strange,
Yes.
Zap.
Yes.
So just real quick, this is pretty common in the municipal bond world. We're just essentially, to keep it simple, refinancing our bonds. We're going to save, I think the numbers were like almost $1.5 million over the course of the rest of these general obligation bonds. Is that correct, Bonnie?
$1.1 million, actually.
Okay. 400,000 here or there. No.
Yeah, but that's great. And that's over about a 20-year period.
Yes.
In the course
So
of 20 years.
much as
That's
we,
really fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's great. It's very helpful for us, but zero interest rates lately are not such a good thing if you're retiring, and
Absolutely.
double-edged sword. Ordinance 2020-044 shall be published in its entirety in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 24th, 2020. Ordinance 2020-045, sale of borough property and enter into agreement. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
This would be, again, the amended version of that was submitted with here after the original.
For 77 Main.
Right.
Roll call.
Columbus,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Strange,
Yes.
Zap.
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-045 shall be published in its entirety in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 24th, 2020. Last one, ordinance 2020-046, amend code chapter 12-11, approval of vouchers. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Strange,
Yes.
Zap.
Yes.
And this is just to allow for Adam actually to sign off on purchase orders in the event that Bonnie has 8 million other things going on. And
also because right now I have two signatures on the vouchers as administrator and CFO. So this gives us a little more
Little cross check.
cross check. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
great. Ordinance 2020-046 shall be published in its entirety in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 24th, 2020. On to the consent agenda. Resolution 192-2020 to 209-2020. Anybody want to pull or discuss or?
Yeah, I want to pull two. Excuse me, I'm just looking at it for a second. 203 and 204.
I'd like to pull 205 as well.
Excuse me, I'm going to grab a charger. I'll be right back.
A Dodge Charger?
For some reason, I always forget, Barry. So we're going to go ahead and approve the consent agenda for the remaining, and then we'll go on and
Need a
discuss.
motion to remove those resolutions from the consent agenda. Then you continue with the consent agenda, then you take the other ones individually.
Okay.
And let me just say, Chris isn't here, but if when you get the agenda, if you see something that you want to pull, and it's not too late, you can, it's not a bad idea to contact Adam and say, hey, look, I'm going to want to pull this out. And then the agenda can just list those resolutions separately instead of having to go through a motion during the meeting to separate them.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we never did that.
Where would they go? Where would you recommend that they be placed if they're not going to be in consent then? New business or?
I would say that they could go right after the consent agenda.
Okay.
Just list them in line order or something.
Right.
Okay, so motion to remove resolutions 203 to 205
Move.
from the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes?
Zappa.
Yes.
Motion to approve consent agenda items or resolutions 192 through 202 and 206 through 209.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, you're up. Resolution 203.
203 is which one?
Fire
hydrants.
Which fire hydrants? Okay, so I think this resolution is good. However, the only thing I want to confirm is that we have on here about the excuse me, I'm pulling it up, about the creative team being one of the inputs from the creative team. As far as I know, the creative team is not I don't know how to say, like a established committee or established team.
Established.
Established, right?
It's part of the green
It's not
team.
formal, right? It's part of what?
It's part of the green team.
It's part of the green team.
Yeah.
Well, my only question is that being that it's
It's newly formed though. We just formed it.
Last year.
but
Who do they report to? Do they report to the green team?
The green team.
The environmental
Part
commission,
of the
really.
Environmental Commission. So, and
but
if
you don't wanna
they're
make
not
it a
formally
formal-
recognized, I think Chris is saying not formally part of an ordinance or anything like that. So maybe
Exactly.
the Environmental Commission that gets their input and reports to the council. I didn't mean to cut you off, Chris, but is that what
exactly,
you're
that's
going?
exactly my point. Just that it's not a formal team, a formally recognized team within some kind of established ordinance or.
It's not a mayor appointed committee like we have.
Right.
Well, yes, it is.
Add a
The
line.
green team is, and we formed the creative team under the green team last year. And I'll also add that it's literally 90% the same members.
No, it's fine. I mean, I have no problem with the creative team doing it. I'm just saying that if they're going to do that, that we should make them it. Michelle, excuse me, but I don't recall if we did create the creative team as a formal team. I don't recall it. That's, that was my question. And if they're going to be on the resolution as someone whose voice is going to be listened to, I think that we should create them formally.
They definitely are a creative team. We passed a resolution last year as part of the underlying green team. I'm
Okay,
viewed that earlier this year.
okay, okay.
With COVID, we have not met in quite some time, but we spoke to the Environmental Commission who met this week, and they're kind of on board with the painting of these 4 hydrants as long as they have input. And I think you mentioned in an email, there's other committees that we would also want to make sure that their feedback is heard. And I think, and I kind of tried to relay this in an email to somebody else. I think what we have to agree to is the concept of, do we think this would bring some artistic value to these 4 hydrants on Main Street specifically? It's not all the hydrants in the borough. It's just these 4. And then, at least get back past that point, because I know even before I was mayor, this was brought up a number of times, and I understand from somebody else that it was brought up, before even Mark Desire was mayor. So, if my feeling is, if we as a council don't agree to the concept, then
Yeah, no, I understand. I agree to the concept. Again, I don't have any, I did not recall the creation of the creative team as a formal entity within the borough or as a spin-off of the green team. That was my only question.
I'd like to add, I think we should bring up that there was some concern about from a resident, that they would not be visible in case there was an emergency and in a fire. And a new proposal was submitted with the new design, which I think, stands with the traditional red hydrant with the white cap, and the design that's on it is on the base. And it looks very good. I just wanted to address that resident's concern.
I have to say, I think that if it's brightly colored, the reality is our firemen know where every fire hydrant in the town is, whether it's the middle of the night and they're painted black or they're painted red. I mean, they know their business. So as long as it's a brightly colored thing, I don't think it really makes a difference if it's a banana or a gnome or a red house. I think it'll be fine.
But now they're staying red. They're
right.
going to be
So
red.
it should be good. And the fire chief didn't seem concerned about that. So.
Yeah, plus they're also going to have the marker flags on them at all times.
And they have the flags, exactly. So I think they'll be safe. That's important. I don't think that this will affect their safety or usefulness.
And we've actually, Christina has actually moved away even from the gnome idea, because I think there, might be some sensitivity issues around that as well. So, listen, I think if we can get past this, the more we can talk about what's appropriate. I mean, nothing's permanent. We could always cover them up with red paint again. But
yeah, absolutely.
Well, is it still an idea that people, like the kids from the high schools, are going to submit ideas and still? Is that still the concept?
That was a thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I still think that's an awesome idea that, they submit the ideas to the creative team and they, pick or, come up with different suggestions. I mean, I like the idea of the nature themes and things like that, because we do have a lot of nature attractions. We have the trails and the gorge and the dam. So, I mean, even if we had 4 hydrants with a nature theme, I think that would be, something that would go with the theme of our borough. So,
yeah,
I agree.
It'd be nice.
All right.
Just my thought.
So do we have a motion to approve, or is there?
I will say we do have a hand raised, Mayor, if you are.
I would like to allow the question just because it's Christina and she's very passionate about this.
I don't want to set a precedent, but in this specific instance where the council needs information with regard to these, the painting of fire hydrants, I think it would be appropriate, Mayor.
Okay. So Christina, you're on. How about we give you like 1 minute just so we don't set a bad precedent.
There, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, Christina White at 76 Main Street. I spoke with Jeff Smith and we ran some ideas around, and it seems appropriate to do these 4 hydrants in a way that maintains their integrity as red and white hydrants, and yet gives the teenagers, who are probably the ones who are going to be doing this, some latitude with just some stencils, as it were, to do the hydrants, and then make them gnome houses, so there's no question about diversity. It's just all whatever the kids want to do within a certain range of stuff. If there are other hydrants to be considered later on, that's great. Let them be nature themed. But for right now, I think that it's really important to give these kids something to do and to get this done, not to drag our feet on it. And, we're willing to repaint the hydrant next door here at 78 Main Street, so it's no longer a gnome, but it becomes red and white again, and then becomes a gnome house. And I think it's just really important to have public art and to have the kids involved. So I thank you very much for considering this again. 1 minute.
That was a good job.
Thank you.
Well done.
Okay.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve Resolution 203-2020?
Move.
Second,
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
On to Resolution 204-2020, social media policy.
Okay. I could start. I don't know if anybody else has comments, but I have a couple questions and a couple comments. First, under the general policy of the social media policy in letter A, it says the Borough of Highbridge shall have a single presence on social media sites deemed appropriate for use by governing body. What does that mean, a single presence?
So as I would understand it, basically the borough, if we were going to have an official borough page, it would be an official Borough of Highbridge Facebook page. That being said, I think, I don't have the exact wording in front of me, but I think we are also allowed for like the committees.
Right.
To also page.
That's where I got confused, because it says under letter A that Highbridge shall have a single presence, but it goes on to say, not specifically, but more so that, you could kind of read in there that the committees can have a presence. And it seems confusing that in one spot it says we have a single presence, and then another spot says we'll add more.
So I'll let Barry speak to it, but as the Borough of Highbridge, like the official Borough of Highbridge would have one Facebook page. Many of the committees and events already have Facebook pages that we don't really have oversight over. And I don't know that we could, Barry, you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just speaking off the cuff, but I don't know that we could say, hey, you can't have this page anymore. We're going to take this over. But I think we could have just a nice borough page that maybe, some of these other events might feed into.
Well, in fact, if it's a duly organized committee or other arm of the borough, I think that the borough has every right to take over any page and to control what the message is on any other site, and even to compel those committees and other people who are acting on behalf of the borough to only post certain things, to only post on a single website. Chris, if I understood your point in terms of A, and I hadn't really picked up this nuance. Sometimes you have a document like this, it says by the governing body. And so that it is, and maybe it should be by the borough, that there's a single site for the borough. I don't know if that's, really where you were going.
Well, so the way that I read this is that we can have a single presence on social media. So the Highbridge would have a Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
But then does Highbridge Events Committee have a Facebook page?
It says in letter E that a designated committee chair, there will be designated committee chairs. So there's still involvement from the committees.
Right.
We just need oversight from the borough.
But letter A seems to negate the ability of a committee to have one that's an official one. Maybe it'd be worth simply removing
The word single.
and just saying the Borough of Highbridge may have a presence on social media sites deemed appropriate for use by the governing body.
Yep.
Maybe that would.
Yeah, that seems exactly, Steve. That would alleviate the confusion.
That way, there's no someone thinking, oh, you're not allowed to. Well, it's more. Yes, you can. You can have a committee that has one, and the borough has one, and then that's outlined freedom. I'm sorry.
As long as that site is managed by either the liaison or the committee chair.
I think all of that is written into this, Mayor, but it just, again, it seemed confusing to me that it says on the first line that it's a single presence, but then further down, it says that you could have the others, the committee was,
Well, but A only talks about the governing body. You, the council, mayor and council are the governing body. So
yeah, but, okay,
A only really doesn't govern the committees. It governs that you as a group, as a mayor and council, only have one site. That's really what it says.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So that's interesting. So
so that means that Michelle can't have hers if there's or Michelle's site becomes the Highbridge governing body site?
Nobody can, you know what, you can't prevent somebody if they want to have a personal website.
But
in her role as mayor, under that rule, she would not be allowed to, this is the mayor's website. No. There has to be one official site for the governing body, for the mayor and council. But everybody always has the right to do a personal site. But it can't be Councilman Zappa's, website. Chris Zappa's website,
Well,
can't be official.
Worth talking about, because I definitely think that as a governing body, we should be able to have our own individual sites if we choose. I mean, Chris.
I agree. I think if I had a message to put out about, I don't know, DPW or, the engineering committee or anything like that, and I wanted to have a website or a Facebook presence to do that, I kind of like that idea. And, because I made different messages would go on there. But again, I think this first line kind of negates that.
Yeah, I have to agree. It seems confusing. It might be simpler to simply leave off the word single.
Well, but then each council person, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here a little bit.
Please do.
The mayor and each council person, if you say may, could each say, I am Councilman Strange, and this is my position, and you're speaking as an official, as a council person, having your own separate website, if you include the word may. And so I think that becomes a little bit difficult for you to potentially have 7 different websites by the council members, the governing body. You always have the right, as I said, to have a personal website. That's a First Amendment right.
But you do see that in other municipalities, that each council member or mayor has their own site. I mean, some people don't want to participate in that at all, and some people are pretty active. So,
it would have to be a qualifier, Mayor. If let's say you had a website, and you have to, I would say, qualify it if the wording remains the same, that it shall be one, voice, if you will, one website for the governing body. You would have to qualify your own website. Hey, I'm the mayor, of Highbridge, but this is not an official website. The opinions on this are my personal opinions, not my positions as a mayor. To make that clear, if this wording is not changed.
I mean, I guess my question is, if each council person were to have a website or a Facebook page stating that Steve Strange as councilman or Steve, whatever,
councilman,
wouldn't number B, it says no Borough of Highbridge social media site shall be established without prior approval of the borough council. Wouldn't I not be allowed to do that with that second one without borough approval?
Correct. The answer is A and B are consistent in that regard. And yes, you could not.
Right.
Create your councilman website, and that's consistent with A, which says there's only one website, official website for the governing body.
So, okay, we need to reword it because I don't think it should be governing body. I think it should be borough because well, at least from my, from my perspective, I think it's important for us to have a Borough of Highbridge Facebook presence or social media presence that, doesn't matter who is the governing body per se. For instance, I know other people that have like YouTube channels as a mayor, but it's really just the mayor. So whoever steps in 4 years, it's interchangeable.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of what I think our borough page should be.
That makes sense too.
Yeah. So
it's not attached to an individual; it's attached to the town.
Right.
Yeah.
And face it, really, if we had a site like that, at any time, anybody who is a Facebook member or, as a councilman or part of the governing body could go onto that site and say, I could say, okay, leaf pickup is starting this week and print the schedule out or whatever. Or Michelle could put out the notices that she puts out or the information. George could put out stuff about golf or, Lynn on, all the events that she runs and stuff and everything. But everybody could just make comments on that one Highbridge.
It depends upon how you set up your web page, of course. Sometimes you have an administrator and everything gets filtered through an administrator.
Yeah.
So you don't have potentially conflicting or incorrect messages. But other times the website allows anybody who is a member, in this case, the governing body or however broadly you want to define that, to post. But you run the risk of conflicting information being put up there sometimes.
Well, I think it's important that if it's the governing body, they should be identified as the council man or woman that they are, that they're representing themselves as such. If they want to. Lynn's not on Facebook. I'm sure she doesn't really want to, but you have a great environmental commission that is more than happy to push some of that information out. So if maybe you were the supervisor per se of the environmental commission website, this way we can control that message. We know what we're pushing out is coming from the borough, and from a place of, this is a message we're trying to get across for the benefit of everybody, So maybe we pull this then and go back to the drawing board a little bit and reword some of those, because I think we're kind of all on the same page at this point.
Yeah, and if we're gonna pull it and reword it too, I got another comment.
I've got one as well.
On letter B. Hang on, let me open it up again. I think that in the last sentence where it says administrated by permissible users, which shall be the mayor and or the mayor's designees, should be also include with the advice and consent of council. Mayor's designees by the, somehow that council as well approves those designees.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. That one, I had thought about simply adding in mayor, town administrator, and or their designees as approved by the governing body. I think in most times we've done something, we usually say mayor and town administrator, just because the town administrator is always there in the office, whereas the mayor may not always be. Some mayors may not be as able to do that in the future. That way, there's always someone right on it.
Smartphone.
But anyway, I'm just that. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry.
Had one, clearly.
Skype call. I apologize. Anyway, that was my thought. Just to add that in but
if I could add one more thing.
I was confused about, but anyway.
If I could add one more thing about grandfathering, how would you handle that then? Events has a lot of different.
Well, I think actually, rewording it and like we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think maybe everything might change a little bit with it. Maybe events would fall under the umbrella of the website or the the Facebook. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I think, we started out with the new website. We had a little committee. Lynn and Natalie were both on that committee, and there were a few other people that maybe we bring in and really kind of hash out some of these details, because at the end of the day, it's really meant to be informational and to get people involved. And most importantly, in my opinion, especially over these last few months, is to make sure that the correct information is being put out there. It's not meant to be an uncensored page or a gripe page. It's meant to be informational about good stuff, good positive things that are happening in the borough, informational things that people can use, as a matter of convenience. So right now we're only talking about Facebook, but maybe someday we have Instagram and Twitter. I don't even want to go there, but I think we're on the right page. So, George, you said you had a comment too?
Yeah, I had a couple questions. One comment, prohibited content, and there's one thing I think should probably put in there is political views, because that tends to mess the waters a lot, I see.
I agree.
So that might want to be an added item there.
Maybe we should, I'm sorry, George, I don't mean to interrupt you, but maybe we should just, as the mayor said, table this and everybody kind of redline, submit some comments in, and we'll pull it all together somewhere.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
Okay with that. I have a general question as well, though. Basically, is we're going to have a moderator, it sounds like, to this site. Is that correct?
An administrator.
Administrator, well, someone who's going to allow or not allow posts. Is that any kind of issue with freedom of speech or anything like that, or is that I didn't know how that kind of works
It's not a freedom of speech issue on a government website, because you have the right to have your own private website to express yourself. This is, so there's a legitimate concern for controlling the information on a website, on a government website.
Sure.
Facebook page, not website.
There you go.
Social media. We have a website, and that has, this is a little bit different, especially since, again, that community page was taken down. Right now there's one site left that I don't think, they don't want any borough censorship, right? So we're technically the borough, the people are, that are panelists on this call. So I think it's appropriate for us to make sure we have something that's representing us. I mean, I sent you guys, or I copied people on an email today that the county is launching
that looks good.
Main Street tomorrow. So and they put a lot of money behind that. So their whole idea is that can help, get people to go to our Facebook pages and to our social media pages and to our trail maps and restaurants and real estate opportunities and stuff. So I think it's really important that we get a presence that we as the current governing body and borough can get behind and make sure that, the message is something that we want to convey to both the residents and people that are looking to either invest here or visit or come have lunch or beers or whatever it is.
So if a comment, sorry to beat a dead horse here, but if a comment gets on there that shouldn't be on there, could be considered, I don't know, offensive to someone, can that then be deleted, or is that going to be a problem?
No, it could be deleted. You would have the control of this specific, site.
Okay, I didn't know if there was an overt thing.
Use racial comments, or said something. You could delete that, and that goes also to who is going to be allowed to actually post things here. Is everything filtered through the administrator, or do people get to post things on their own? Because if it's filtered through the administrator, presumably that won't happen. If you have everybody being able to do it on their own, that potentially could happen. I mean, look,
that's what I was thinking. This is going to be like an info-only thing, but if there's comments allowed, I could see potential.
I think that it's
right.
suggested there were limited public social media forums, so there was a limited allowance of comments that were, what was it? A discussion of specific topics or something. So I mean, I think the idea was that you were allowed to post comments that related to that thing as opposed to just anything you wanted to post. So I think there are particles of this that are parts of this that address that concern. But anyway, if we're tabling it, we can talk about it at length another time.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, there's a way to just hide a comment. So the general public can't see it or be offended by it, but you still have it as part of the public record should you be Oprah'd for some reason. So especially when it's that kind of page, it's a public governing, it's a government page, and Facebook, believe it or not, does have policies and strict guidelines that you have to adhere to. And, it's not just you set it up and you're done. You have to go through a process with Facebook so they verify who you are and that you say who you are. I think we would be protected in that regard.
So if everybody wants to make their edits and send them to me, I can try to pull it together in another form and we'll send it out for another review.
Okay. So do I need to motion to remove this, or we're just going to remove it and move on to the next?
I don't think we made a motion
A
for.
motion to table, I think, would be in order.
Okay. Motion to table resolution 204-2020.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay. Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Zap.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 205-2020. George?
Yeah, I asked to discuss this one. I'm happy to see that we're adding some members to the golf committee. We have 3 on here. We currently have 7 that have attended some meetings. I'd like to request that we add at least 2 more because we're not going to have quorum with 3. The other 2 memberships would be up at the end of 2021. There's 2 seats open for that, and there's 2 seats open for 2020 that expire in 3 months. But I'd at the very least like to add, we have 2 names here that I would love to be able to add on here. We have Kevin Gilligan and we have Isabel Silvestri that I'd like to be added on to this. I'd like to amend that to add them on. So we just have, we have 5, and then we have the 2021 and the 2022 seats occupied. I know 2020 is up soon, so if that's moot point, so be it. But I'd like to at least have the quorum so, we can have people vote.
And that does kind of make sense because if you have 3 people, you can't really do much. And even though there's only 3 months left, you could have set some goals and start talking about so you hit the ground running in January with your full board.
Right. Well, in January, would you then lose 2 people, you said?
Yep.
If in January we'd lose 2 people if we had all 7 on board now.
Okay.
So I'm not quite ready to appoint the other members only because on the last meeting that they were at, I wasn't able to attend, and all 4 of the proposed new members haven't been active within the golf committee that we all have been for the last year of trying to put this together. And I just wanted the opportunity to sit in on some meetings, get to know the members. I know Isabel certainly, had, she showed up to the one meeting and wasn't able to attend over the last year. Kevin, I haven't gotten to know at all. And the other 2 new members, I don't know even remotely. And I do have somebody that's interested in being on the golf committee that plays golf regularly there. And so I just really wanted the opportunity to talk about it.
Well, there's 7 seats
at the end of the month, and we can, hopefully the whole committee is going to be there, even though it's also on a planning board night. But we're meeting at the end of the month, and it'll give me an opportunity to discuss why people want to be a member of this committee. I don't really see the rush when we still have 3 solid months to get a feel. And like we said, 2 members would only be appointed for 3 months. So,
well, that's the 2 members that I'm not including 2 other people. And honestly, I'd rather have all 4, but I'm just trying to get at least 2 more on. We don't even have quorum right now. For me, it doesn't make sense to even have, 3 on if we don't even have quorum. What are we doing?
I mean, George, we have been working to get this committee organized for more than a year. We're not,
Evan's been there and Isabel's been there. Isabel had to take a break, as you know.
and these other members haven't been coming to meetings for the last year that we've been, all showing up and having these conversations. It's not meant for any other reason that I want to have the opportunity to sit down at the virtual table with everyone and talk about what we all have been talking about for the last year, and definitely talk about some goals. I haven't had the opportunity to meet with a few of the members to find out why they want to be on the committee.
I apologize that you haven't had that opportunity, but the opportunity's been there. I just feel like it's not right to not allow.
I didn't say I'm not allowing.
Right
I'm just saying I'm not appointing them right now. I didn't think now was the appropriate time.
Well, I mean, have the other members of do we have 3 people on there? Have they had any input regarding these
We have nobody on right now. So the resolution speaks to appoint 3 members.
But have they been attending meetings? Was it Adam, Dr.
Yes.
Fong, and
They've been to every meeting for the last year and a half that we've had.
But my point simply was, have they had any input regarding these other members being appointed as well? I mean, so they've.
They're both golfers. Isabel she's on the Women's League in Highbridge. I mean, they're golfers.
It's not, it's not a personal issue. It's nothing against anyone personally. It's just that they're brand new names in front of me. Since the last meeting I was able to attend. As you know, these meetings also fall on the night of planning boards and school board meetings. So I apologize. I haven't been able to get.
I've adjusted, and I think you know the character well enough.
To appoint the 3 members. That's really.
You handed Isabel's daughter the soapbox trophy. I mean, and you know who these people are.
Where we can, move forward without any members at all.
Well, I mean, we've got a resolution to at the very least appoint these 3.
So what if we tabled this resolution as well and gave the mayor an opportunity to at least maybe talk with the individuals before the next meeting?
I mean, I would just love to see if we've got people to stick them on there and get the committee going.
I don't know why we wouldn't appoint the 3 people that have been showing up for the last year and a half. Listen, we have lots of committees that are looking for members. There's no rush here. We want to make sure we have people that are committed. And next year is a big year. So I want to make sure we have the right people on this committee. And that's really all it comes down to. Again, I see Isabel's on this call, Pat's on this call. It's not a personal issue. It's just making sure that we have the right people on the committee. This committee is as important to me, George, as it is to you. So I want to get it right. And that's it. I mean, it's taken this long to get these 3 people appointed. Let's appoint them and move forward. We're going to meet before the end of the month.
Well, I would like to move to amend it to add the other 2 people as well.
You want to move to amend the agenda?
I want to move to amend to add these 2 if that's possible. I mean, I feel like they should be on there. If not, then table it until the next meeting when we can add them on, because I feel like they should be done at the same time. I really do.
I mean, I'll second that. That's fine. I just want to move along.
I suggest we do what Chris suggested as well.
Which was?
Tabling it, giving you the opportunity to have your conversation with the deadline of the next meeting.
So Barry, how do you want to handle that under Robert's rules?
No,
Well, it's a motion to amend the resolution.
Yeah, I said pull the resolution. We'll table it for now. I'm not going to put a deadline on it, but we'll definitely table it. So
Well, it's a motion to table.
Yeah,
and,
we would need
has
a
to be
motion
voted
to
on
table
by the
from a
council.
council member.
Yeah.
I had a motion to amend.
Even though Natalie suggested that it be, by the next meeting, that wasn't the motion. that would have to be an amendment to the motion that was made.
So the motion from Councilman Columbus was to amend it to add the two names.
Correct.
There was a motion and a second, and then we had, before a roll call vote, we had another motion. I didn't catch a second on that because I want to get the way that this is being recorded done properly. So what do you recommend for that?
What I caught was that Natalie made a recommendation, not a motion. If she wants to, ask George and Steve, who moved to table and second it, if they accept that as a friendly amendment, if you will, that it has to be, that'll be on the next council meeting, voted on then. That's up to them. But as of right now, there's no motion by Natalie. It was just a suggestion. And so the motion that you have in front of you is from George.
So Natalie would need to say, I make a motion to table it.
Okay.
Her, and I don't want to speak for Natalie, I think that it was that it has to be done by the next meeting.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not going for that deadline, so I don't know what you need ahead of that, so.
Well, if Natalie wants to make a formal motion and it's seconded.
Meeting, before the next meeting, so.
Well, you could just have a conversation. I mean, if you just want to have a conversation to find out what their intent is, why they want to be on the committee and what they can bring to the table, we have a couple of weeks.
I mean, it can't, okay. I mean, my understanding was that if Natalie makes a motion to table and that is seconded, we then have to vote on that. Is that correct?
The answer is that George already made the motion to table and you seconded it.
I made the motion to amend.
To amend. I'm sorry, George. Thank you.
Wait, but can you motion to amend the resolution?
Yeah, I have that there is a motion to amend it to add.
So I apologize. I remembered your motion incorrectly.
You had Kevin Gilligan and Isabel Silvestri, and then I had a second by Steve String.
Yeah, but that's a motion to amend the wording of the document. Can you do that? Or can you make a motion to amend the agenda?
No, it's a motion to amend the resolution. And you're allowed to make a motion to amend the resolution.
Okay.
But also back to Natalie, if Natalie is making a motion to table that amendment, and then, I mean, isn't that a normal step in the process? I mean, I'm just trying to
and if it's seconded, that gets precedent and that gets voted on before George's motion.
I motion to table then.
I mean, that's just my
All
understanding.
right, and then I second it.
Okay.
So that gets voted on first. It supersedes the motion to amend.
Oh, okay. All right.
So when's the table deadline? There is no deadline. Is this just going to be rolling? Because this has been going on for a year, been going on for a long time. I'm just trying to get this thing to move forward. It seems like it's a very long, drawn out process, and we're coming up to the end of 2021. I'm just trying to get a committee here with quorum. That's my goal here. I don't mean to be bull on this thing, but it's, I don't know what the holdup is. I really don't.
My question to you, George, though, is what do you need the quorum for? Because we've still been meeting as a committee and been able to accomplish quite a few really good things for the golf course, the borough, to get this ordinance in place. So what do you really need to vote on?
Well, right now, I think we need to vote on it. Whether or not-
Sorry.
Anything variance that comes up as far as, we were talking about bubblers and the fountains and things like that. It's nice to be able to put votes to things and what people agree on instead of just, forcing it down. And, I of course relay everything back, what I feel, but it would be nice to have, a sense of committee and a sense of, just something to kind of bind everything together instead of just having it it's very loosey right now. And I don't mind it, but what's the point of the committee then? It's it's more an ad hoc right now.
Yeah, and the committee does provide an official procedure for making those decisions so that it's not any one person that's being looked at as making that decision, I guess. But as I said, it seems right now the question of whether to table it is what's up. So
Now, Barry, can we put a deadline on that? Is that normal protocol to do that? To what George is
Absolutely.
asking?
You can table it
In
until
respect
the
to-
next meeting, or you can just table it, in which case then you have to take it off the table whenever it's appropriate.
Mhm.
But you can certainly table it to the next meeting. It doesn't mean it's going to necessarily get voted on at the next meeting, because you could have this similar discussion that you're having now, potentially. But you could table it to the next meeting, of course.
And then it just remains tabled again if we don't come up with a decision, right?
That's exactly
And then
right.
it's
Then you know
longer,
it's on
and then
the
we'll have it
agenda for
all.
the next meeting.
Not leave this committee open. That's not my goal. My goal is to do it the right way. And I think I'm doing it the right way by appointing these 3 people that have been showing up for meetings for the last year and a half and allowing me the opportunity to meet with the other interested parties before they're actually officially appointed. And that's the way it's been done for the many years that I've been volunteering for other committees in this borough. Granted, I'm new as a mayor, but I'm not new as a volunteer. And, there have been plenty of people that have come and gone on committees that, lose interest or have not been appointed or what have you. So again, it's not anything personal to anyone that is interested. It's just to make sure that we're doing this the right way, which I think we're doing. So let's move on to the vote that I think is on the table to table.
Okay, so we had the motion on the table from Natalie and Lynn. So that would be
Is the deadline on the motion?
Next
It's going to be on
meeting.
the next meeting?
next meeting. Okay.
Next meeting.
But it's not a hard deadline, so I don't know what the.
It's going to be back on the agenda. It'll be back on the agenda at the next meeting, and whether or not it gets approved is another story, but it'll be discussed, at least they're on the agenda for the next meeting.
It's funny that we've never had this committee before, but it's so important to get the quorum that a few other committees don't have, but okay. That's just my thought. Anyway, vote.
I'm not a part of those committees. I'm just trying to keep my house clean over here. That's all.
Right.
Okay.
You're on EDC though, right, George?
Correct. And they have, I think we have 6 members now.
Well, we don't have a quorum at every meeting. Like last night, we didn't have a quorum.
We have members.
What?
We have members.
But if not everyone shows up to the meeting, you don't have a quorum. Anyway, let's move on to the vote.
That
Okay.
meeting was also postponed.
All right. Roll call vote. Columbus,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Strange,
yes, I guess.
Zapp.
Yes.
So then the second one that we had pending, Barry, is that negated or is that
Moot now.
done?
It's moot because it's, been tabled to the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, on to the second round of public comments, 5 minutes per person.
There. All right, we're going to start with the phone callers. We'll start with last four, 8654. Do you have anything for the second set of 5-minute comments? Okay. Sally Ward, do you have anything for the second set of 5-minute comments? You there, Sally?
I'm here. Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hi.
Hey. All right. Here we go. I have a tiny thing that I'm doing. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Many years ago, I was incredibly shy. I was incredibly shy, but I still wrote. And here's a very short ode to us all here in Highbridge. I wrote it to everybody way back, but it's really specific, I feel, right now to us all. And its title is called One Mother. And I speak of Mother as Earth. Here we go. Peace of mind begins in the heart, and ours all beat together. Look to see our commonalities, although we're not all birds of one feather. When we find our peace from within, we'll know that we are all of one birth. Sisters and brothers, we are all of one great mother. May peace prevail on earth. Earth, may peace prevail on earth. Mother Earth.
Thank you, Sally. That was nice. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sally.
Thanks for stopping. Thanks, Sally. Thank you.
Hey, Barry, good to hear your voice yet again, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to hear you.
Love you guys, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Okay. Robert Poles.
He doesn't have his hand up, does he?
I wasn't hearing one of the phone calls. I'm sorry, Robert. Okay, we will go to Michelle Schwartz.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. How are you?
Good, Michelle. How are you?
Hanging in there, guys. Hanging in there. My question tonight is, have we heard from the gas company about the paving of Thomas Street? When they put the lines in on Seal, they ended up paving the side of the road that they kind of, tore up to put the line in.
Sure.
And then they did an overlayment on that side. Are they going to do the same for Thomas?
I will.
Gas lines?
Yeah, they put new gas lines in there not too long ago. I'll look into that for you, Michelle.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, no problem. I haven't driven up your street in a while, but I'll go drive up and take a look, and then I'll give them a call. I still have a contact from when we worked on Krieger together.
Okay. And by the way, Chris, congratulations on Streetscape finally happening.
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for it. But yeah, thanks. You know how long that's been going on, right?
Yes.
I went Sunday to go take a look at Streetscape to see how it was going, how it was moving along. And I started talking to Christina. She was outside, and so that project was actually handed off to me when I came on council 6 years ago, right? And it was already a few years in the making. So it's probably 8 to 10 years old.
Yikes.
I know.
Actually, I just have one question about that. I did notice the entranceway, and I'm sure you've said this before, so forgive my ignorance on it. It looked like the entranceway to the Commons is more narrow. Is that just?
No, it's just the way that they're doing it. They want to be able to allow the cars to go in and out. So they did half of the entranceway.
Okay.
And they left half of it done so that the first half they worked on can cure enough for cars to drive across it. And then they'll do the other half of it.
Perfect.
I thought that too, Michelle. I called up Chris. I'm going, go down and look at this. This doesn't look right.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, if you go and you look at Streetscape, the way it's being done on the north part of the entrance to the Commons, there's a little red pad that's a tactile strip for people who are visually impaired, when they're crossing the street, they could feel the bumps under their feet. They know they're across the street. So that's where the walkway is going to be. So that from that point on, or that point across the street, that's where the walkway to the trail will be.
Perfect. Are they gonna put a, like a crosswalk symbol from
Yes.
from that side to the path side? Perfect.
Yes, and they're actually, the crosswalk symbol is going to go up the entrance of the commons. The entrance of the commons is going to get straightened out as well, so it's not on a little bit of an angle when you pull out of there. It's kind of hard to see down Main Street because your car's at a little bit of an angle. It's going to be straightened out so you have a better view, and the north part of the driveway will be hash marked as a walkway.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Isabel Silvestri?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I just had a couple of quick comments. Regarding the Facebook page, I do like to have a one borough Facebook page with all of the committees on there as opposed to following each one of you separately. And also would probably suggest that you not allow comments on that page because you saw what happened to High Bridge, and you can just imagine what's going on High Bridge 2.0. My other issues or questions are clearing the brush around stop signs. So when you come off like West Main onto Krieger, you can't see left or right because there's brush. It also happens on like when you go from Main Street onto 513 or West Main again. So I don't know who's responsible for clearing some of the stop sign brush so people they don't have to go into the intersection to actually be able to see left or right.
I'll ask Rick about it, who's probably actually listening to us.
Okay.
Right now. But I thought actually after the last meeting, because someone made a comment about the brush at the corner of West Main and Krieger.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I thought they had gone out there
They
and
did.
and done a pretty
They
good job.
cut it back.
Oh, they did?
They did?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The streetscaping, right? Looks amazing. However, the old section of streetscaping, who's responsible for keeping up for the maintenance? So when we walk through there, there's like weeds all over, surrounding the light poles and coming out of the beautiful stonework. And it just doesn't look right. So I don't know who's responsible for that. Also, the Krieger, New Jersey Transit Bridge. I know that we kind of patched it up a little bit, so there's a lot of holes on there. I'm not sure what the next step with that one is. And then also, I live on Woodland Terrace. So if you come out of Woodland Terrace to the dead end, you can cut through the commons to get to, the Columbia Trail. There's a huge tree that came down with the last storm, and it's kind of hanging over the trail. It's like we call them the Widowmakers. So if God forbid that tree falls on somebody, it could kill somebody. So I don't know who's responsible for that. It's sort of like between the Commons and Woodland Terrace.
Okay. So I believe, I'd have to triple check or double check, but I believe that the people who are in front of the sidewalk, either the business or the residents that's in front of the sidewalk is responsible for the maintenance of that area. The bridge. Yeah, the bridge is another long project that I've been working on, working with New Jersey Transit to get repaved. And it was actually starting to move early this year before, the virus hit, I guess, and it kind of stalled that project. And I'm not sure whose property that is that trail cuts through there. I think that might even be New Jersey Transit property. I would have to check.
Oh, wow, great.
I think it's ours.
You think so?
I think so.
We have an easement where the actual trail goes off Woodland, but then I don't know how far back in she's talking with the tree.
Yeah, I don't know. I know there's a round circle of land that we own, some weird little circle that's ours. Right.
Check the tax map and find out.
Exactly. Just have to check.
I just wanted to let you guys know that was out there in case
That's worth looking at.
hurt.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor, I think that is everyone.
Okay. On to the legal issues.
The only thing I'll report on tonight, Mayor, is, an issue that arose with regard to an Oprah request. I don't think people appreciate how much time Adam, Bonnie, Chief Bartman, spend dealing with Oprah requests. Many of them which, have to be rejected because, they're just improper for some reason. Well, what happened was that there was one Oprah, and they pull me in whenever there are difficult Oprah requests, difficult issues. And there was one that there was a request for several different categories of documents. Adam worked with Chief Bartman in terms of getting together the documents that were responsive, but there was one category of documents that there weren't any. And so Adam properly responded that he didn't have any documents in response to that. And in fact, he not only checked on it, but then an appeal was filed with the GRC, the Government Records Council, with regard to Adam's denial of that category of documents. And Adam went back and double checked with Chief Bartman to find out whether or not they existed. Said, Chief, check again. And of course they did not exist. One never knows when there's an appeal like this, what's going to happen. But we certainly filed an answer. And the GRC rejected the appeal, denied it. And so I just wanted you to be aware of that, because I know that Adam works really hard and is very conscientious in terms of responding to these. And it takes so much time. So it's always nice to see, him vindicated, by the GRC rejecting the appeal.
Yeah, the chief was pivotal with that too. We worked together, and he helped through a big portion of that too. So I want to thank him for that.
And then a while ago, didn't we set a fee for an Oprah request that goes over a certain amount of time? Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Is that just on the request itself, or in a situation like this where you have to spend time defending yourself?
You don't get attorney's fees. It's one of those situations where if the person who filed the appeal had prevailed, there's a likelihood they would get their attorney's fees paid. Mm-hmm. But if we don't get our attorney's fees paid, even though we prevailed, it's a one-sided attorney fee issue, which is so true in so many of they's statutes.
Right.
The pro-consumer, if you will, in quotes.
The other fee you're referring to, Chris, is if we have to respond to a request, which is rather large, and it will be at an expense to the borough and thus the taxpayers. We can work up basically a cost to complete that over.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's totally different than dealing with the attorney's fees for an appeal.
Right. Okay.
Good job,
That's all I have, Mayor.
Yeah, good job, Adam.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, communications.
We have the August zoning report, the tax and finance reports for July. We have a letter of the refunding analysis for the bond, which we were dealing with that earlier in the meeting. And then some documents for the 77 Main Street redevelopment. I think that's the map that Chris was referring to earlier, as well as some letters and such.
Thank you. Bill list.
We have $284,150.28.
Motion to approve the bill list.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Okay, if there is no further business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Barry.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
All right, next council meeting, September 24th, 7:30. Adam, it still says at the firehouse on the website. I don't know if we want to change it to official Zoom or not, but
Yeah, I was at the firehouse tonight.
That's where we're all zooming out.
Hopefully soon.
Right, but socially distancing in the firehouse.
That's
Yeah. If there's a way to do that, it would be.
You guys can be in the meeting room. How's that?
You sit in a different fire.
I will say we have looked into those options. We are trying to come up with something that may allow for a hybridized meeting, but the cost seems to be pretty high. So we are looking into this still and trying to make it happen.
Yeah, we'll keep talking about it. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone. Motion adjourned to adjourn.
Bang, bang. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe.
You too.
Thank you.